René Descartes, as a mathematician and philosopher, was an analytical genius. He was born March 31st, 1596 in La Haye, France, otherwise known today as Renè, France, to an upper-middle-class family. This class is also known as the gentry. His mother, who had died shortly after his birth, left him and his brother and sister to live with their maternal grandmother, as their father was a counselor to the high court at René's in Brittany. In 1606, Descartes entered into the Jesuit school Lafitche in Anjou, where he spent 9 years studying. Towards the end of his studies, though, Descartes soon realized that with the exception of mathematics and science, that nothing was the absolute truth. It was then he noticed that mathematics only served as a minion to mechanics, but not much more than that. He later left school and shut himself away in a cabin for a year in 1614. Scholars have speculated whether or not he suffered from depression, but there is no defining answer. He then studied for a year from 1615 to 1616 at the University of Poitiers, where he earned a law degree, which did not intrigue him as much as he thought it would. When he left the practice of law, he chose to become a gentleman soldier and joined Prince Maurice of Nassau's army in 1618 in Holland. As an unpaid volunteer, he met Isaac Beeckman, a Dutch philosopher, doctor, and physicist. It was Beeckman who inspired Descartes to become a philosopher and rekindled his interest in mathematics. He soon left the army after this and traveled widely for several years across Europe. Later in his life, Descartes became a teacher of his own studies. In 1649, Descartes accepted an invitation to become a teacher to Queen Christina of Sweden, though Queen Christina was not one for much sleep and kept Descartes up most hours of the night with lessons. This and the much harsher cold weather of Sweden led to him getting pneumonia and dying in Stockholm, Sweden on February 11, 1650. Now on to his works and accomplishments during his life. As the founder of analytical geometry, along with other works in the mathematic fields, he also made several contributions to philosophy, such as the rules for direction of the mind, discourse on method, and most essentially, meditation of the first philosophy, commonly referred to as meditation. Meditation is viewed as a very controversial piece among philosophers as it contains 6 views of the world that were very different ideas during the time period, which we will go over in length now. The first meditation is known as methodological skepticism, better known as doubting the mind. Descartes argues that we first must doubt our reliability in our mind and senses in order to understand the world we live in completely. His second meditation circles around the idea of beliefs. He states that if you are able to question or argue something's existence, for example, your own life, then being able to make that argument can prove its existence. This is also where his famous saying came from, "I think, therefore I am." His third meditation involves God, and in it he states that God is no deceiver, but that God is cause and effect. Delving from the second meditation, if we are able to think of God, then he exists, therefore creating us. In this loop, though, neither is created without the other, making both reliant on the other party. In the fourth meditation, Descartes goes over the ability of human error. He strongly believes that if we were to evolve as a species, that error is key, even though it stops many of us from trying again. This also applies to his belief with discovering new thought and philosophy. During his fifth meditation, he applies the idea of methodology to material reality, attempting to use mathematics to explain pure reality, not just thought. The sixth and final meditation discusses the topic of our relationship between soul and the human body. As Descartes believed in mechanism, to him there could never be a connection between the bodily machine and the free soul. The separation between body and soul was clear to him, and instead there was a connection between mind and body in order to perceive the world we live in. And to Descartes, all of these 6 meditations are key to understanding the world we live in as a species.